Bittinger and Scott leading the field to the starting line. Green is out. Bittinger in the early lead, followed by the 5 of Travis Scott, then the 54 of Warner. Fourth, the 59 of Steve Wilbur. Battle for fifth between Wyatt and Criswell. $2D of Orwig pulling into the infield. Bittinger getting about a half a straightaway lead over Travis Scott in second. Third is Brett Warner. Bittinger approaching some lap cars. Wilbur, Criswell, Owings, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Doesn't take long to get to lap traffic here at Trailway Speedway. Chad Criswell making some moves. He's going into third spot. Warner now on the outside trying to take third back from Chad Criswell. Right behind them, the 35 of Steve Owings. And the 69X pulling into the infield, Justin Forbes. Warner's into third, followed by Steve Owings in fourth now. Steve Owings trying to make a pass on the outside for third and takes that third spot. Now Chad Criswell trying to take over fourth from Warner. As we get the halfway to go sign. Bittinger still in the lead, followed by the 5 of Travis Scott. Now in third, the 35 of Steve Owings. Chad Criswell and Brett Warner battling back and forth for that fourth spot. Bittinger now approaching some lap cars that are battling pretty hard, 3 wide, and able to get them on the inside. 27 of Jacob Galloway into the infield. And trouble in turn 4. Backwards in turn 1 is McClellan, driver of that number 6. Caution out now with 16 to go. This will move those top few cars back a little bit closer. Bittinger was getting a pretty good lead on the rest of the field. Bittinger able to hold on to this lead from the start. What do you think about packing them up close together again? Bittinger was pulling away as he was getting into lap traffic. Do you think that this clean air will help him out? Or putting Travis Scott and Steve Owens right on his tail, gonna bunch them up a little bit more. And the 6 of Tim McClellan able to push back off. He'll join the tail end of the field. Oh, no, he's pulling off again. Lights are out. Galen Kohler tells them we go this time. Cars must stay nose to tail till they get to the cone on the front stretch. And McClellan Bittinger still holding on to that first spot. Battle for second now. Steve Owings. Chad Criswell trying to move into fourth. Makes the pass over Brett Warner. Whoa, trouble for your second place. Steve Owens doing a spin out in turn 1 and 2 as he was trying to put a move on Bittinger. Looks like Steve is out of his car. Checking over the car, looking for any damage. '66 of Cody Fletcher being pushed off the track. Steve Owings looks like he'll be pushed off the track, not able to restart. And looks like we go this time. Everybody's still following Bittinger. And green is out. 5 more laps. More laps for Mike Bittinger. Battle for second. Looks like Chad Criswell's trying to make a move on the inside. And caution is back out. The 13 of Bo Gordon Jr. backwards in turn 4, causing that caution. .20 laps down, 5 to go. Holding on to the lead from the start, the 12 of Mike Bittinger, followed by the 5 of Travis Scott, and the 84M of Chad Criswell. Battle for second. Criswell trying to make a move on the inside. Travis Scott shuts him out. Chad Criswell trying to make a move again on the inside, side by side, coming out of turn 2. Travis Scott able to hold on to that second spot as they get the 2 to go sign. Mike Bittinger gets the white flag. Last lap, Travis Scott in second, close behind the 84M of Chad Criswell. Side by side down the backstretch for second spot. .69 of Cameron Smith backwards in turn 4.
He doesn't even look like he really went over. I don't really know why they threw the red, to be honest.
Cameron Smith, his car being towed off by the wrecker. The cars are going to get back underway. 24 laps down, one more to go. Mike Bittinger holding on to that lead from the start. Battle heating up for second between the 5 of Travis Scott and the 84M of Chad Criswell. Fourth is the 54 of Brett Warner. Fifth, the 59 of Steve Wilbur. Sixth, the 19D of Wyatt Hinkle. Seventh, the 2 of Cody Hartlob. Eighth, the 77 of David Holbrook. Ninth, the 00 of Chris Frank. And rounding out your top 10 so far is the 51 of Austin Truchet. Restart cone being placed on the front stretch. This will be a green checkered. Pace truck off the backstretch. We go this time. Everybody following Mike Bittinger in the number 12. Green is out. And getting the checkered flag, Mike Bittinger.
Welcome to another edition of the SprintCarUnlimited.com live show. I'm going to apologize up front. I have some eye trouble, obviously, as you can see. We'll get through the show as best we can. I'll try and read the questions. Again, I'll get through it the best I can. So that's where we're at. But we're going to jump right in with what has everybody got? Obviously, Macri isn't going on the road full time this year, but where would you project him to finish in the standings if he ran Woo or High Limit? World of Outlaws, 5th or 6th, maybe. High Limit, fourth or fifth, maybe contend for third at this point. That's because I don't think he beats Gravel, Kofoid, Macedo. And then fourth, you're looking at Logan or Sheldon. I think Macri be in that threesome for fourth, fifth, sixth. High limit, I like him to be, I don't think he beats Rico. And I don't think he beats Reitzel, albeit, I don't know, less races, 8 races at Port Royal, albeit, again, Reitzel and Rico are both good there. That's a good question, but I think he slots in third, fourth for high limit. And then, of course, like I said, fifth, sixth, fourth, fifth, sixth, battling there for the Outlaws. John on line 1. John, what do you got?
Hey, how you doing, Jeremy? I heard you had a bad eye, you said.
Yeah.
You have pink eye or something?
It's conjunctivitis.
Okay, I've heard of that.
Yeah, and it's like a version of pink eye. I'm not contagious. It was the first thing I asked because I'm getting on a plane tomorrow. And they gave me some drops.
Okay.
And, it's very itchy, irritating, and just have to flush out.
Covered?
What's that?
Do you have it covered?
Yeah, I
mean, covered over with a patch.
Yeah, no, I got.
That helps some of that itching.
No, I got some drops from the pharmacist. They called in a prescription, and then I flush out my eyes every hour with saline. So, we'll
Okay.
like I said, we'll get through it as best we can.
It's got to clear up for you before you head out to Las Vegas. Hopefully.
Well, I'm on a plane tomorrow night, so I don't have much time.
Well, better, yeah. Have to clear up quick then.
Yes.
Hey, I wanted to just talk to you about, you need to sit down with your help there and figure out how you're going to do this, say 7:30 or whatever, Central Pennsylvania news program. Because since you're not committed to this thing anymore at VAPS or Lincoln or whatever, you need to replace that with this program. I mean, I think it would do real well. I know it would do real well.
Well, we're working on it. There's some things this weekend I'll be doing some work on it, and then I'm going to talk to some other people, and I'm working on it. I hope to have it up and running sometime in early April, maybe the beginning of April.
Okay. And I hope that when and if you do it, you spread it right out to all the tracks that are here in Central Pennsylvania. Port Royal, Selinsgrove, Lincoln, BAPS, so forth. Get them, because you can maybe do a little better on the advertising if you get them all involved there. Do them all.
Well, the problem is I don't
like lean towards one.
The problem is I don't want to be married to any of them because I don't honestly want them to be able to tell me what I can and can't say. So
no.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it pans out. It's a work in progress.
Okay. I had one other quick question for you. Since the Outlaws they're pretty well affiliated with Williams Grove, I take it.
Yes.
They seem to be pretty loyal to the Grove.
Very much so.
Like nobody else is getting in there. Yeah. And that's Port Royal's the other way with the high limit.
Correct.
That's a pretty tight situation there. So is there anyone going to be covering Selinsgrove at all, do you know?
As far as what?
Video.
Not that I know of. I know the series races will be on PAPosse.tv as of now.
Oh, they will. Okay. And I noticed that Port Royal wasn't on the PA Posse series for those early races that they had been on the list. Is something going on there?
No, they're on Flow.
No, I mean for the Pennsylvania Posse series.
All
originally they're on the schedule.
They're on the series schedule, but they're not on the TV schedule.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
I seen they were on and then they weren't on. So
No,
I was a little confused what was happening. I know.
no. Flow is at Port Royal and will be broadcasting all races from Port Royal.
Okay, how about then when they're at the Grove, is it Dirt Vision?
It's Dirt Vision,
doing
yes.
it, or
it's Dirt Vision.
Okay, all right, okay,
All right.
I'll hope your eyes straightened out for you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, you bet.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye. All right. What else do we got? We got Bob on line too. Bob, how are you?
Oh, just peachy. I was just curious, how many cars you think would be in Vegas?
That's a tough call. I'm going to say 35 to 35, 38, maybe something like that. Maybe.
And then down Texas?
See, I don't know how many of those Power Eye guys are going to show up. I would say, I think both of them will be in that 32 to 35 range. I could be way off on it. Vegas is tough because I don't know how many West Coast guys are going to come over. I think both are between that 32 and 35 range.
Now, from a Central Iowa guy, the McCarls and the 10 car and stuff, you think they'll go to Texas or out to Vegas?
I could see Austin going out to Vegas because Country Builders is out there and they're going to be at Central Arizona the following week. So I could see him going to Vegas just because Country Builders is their main, their main sponsor. So I could see them going out to Vegas.
And Ryan Tim, where do you think he'll go?
I don't know if he goes anywhere. If he goes, maybe Kennedale. I don't know what their schedule is going to look like.
Yeah. Oh, and one last thing. What do you think of that gal that announces that 358 series in Pennsylvania?
What 350? Who announces the 350? Oh, you mean the 305 series?
Oh, was that 305 that you just had on?
Yeah. Well, no, they were 358s, but that was a race at Trailway, and she did it. That was Stephanie Dodson. Yeah.
Think she's any good?
Okay.
Yeah.
Just okay. So, I'm announcing.
I was never.
Go ahead.
I was never a big fan of who everybody thought was great was Bruce Ellis. I always thought he was kind of boring to listen to.
I don't need a clown in the booth. I want somebody who's going to be informative. I thought Bruce Ellis was really good. I thought he was knowledgeable. I thought, obviously, a historian of sprint car racing, good writer for years. I thought he wrote great stories. I think he had a lot of good insight. I was a Bruce Ellis guy. I don't need him up there yelling and screaming. I don't want that. But everybody likes something different.
I agree. Yeah, my wife's sitting here. She said, I agree.
Yeah, it's just, I don't need you yelling. I know what's going on.
But anyways, that's all I wanted. Thanks for taking the call.
Anytime, Bob. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye. All right. Does Chase Dietz get 15 wins this season? Ryan Hand and I were just talking on the podcast tonight. It'll be out tomorrow, by the way, on SprintCarUnlimited.com. We both think he gets to double digits. I'm going to say 12. I'll say 12. 15. Dietrich's going to heat up. Wagaman's going to steal some. Macri obviously being in the area. I just think he falls a little short of 15. Are you surprised that Woodall hasn't been at either of the Lincoln races they're normally at every race can get to? No, he is running the series this year, the PA Posse 410 Sprint Car Series. time trial shows specifically. So no, I knew he wouldn't be at Lincoln. He's not running every race this year. It's series or bust. It seems like sanction shows as well. Anything with time trials. I'll bet Brian Carter is glad High Limit doesn't have that stupid 4 unsanctioned race rule. Otherwise, we would not have a full field at Talladega. No, they had 4 High Limit guys. They would have had 21 cars. And I think at that rate, they would have found some cars via tow money or paid some guys to be there if they were really concerned about it. I'm okay with their 4 race rule. While I don't necessarily believe that if you run a race on a Wednesday that it takes away from a Friday outlaw show, there's no proof of that yet. That's just speculation. But I'm okay with protecting your product. You know, I don't have a big problem with the 4 race rule. You know it going in. You can run 4 races out of the series. And really the way the series is now and how the schedules line up, you couldn't race that many races out of it anyway. And these guys aren't going to go race for 5,000 somewhere. If they do, that's stupid, because why, if you run for $5,000, you're telling the outlaws they don't have to raise the purse. It's the old Greg Hodnett theory. So I think the 4 race rule at this point is overblown just because the schedule, it doesn't line up. It's to the point where it doesn't line up. It mattered a couple years ago where High Limit was near where the World of Outlaws were and vice versa. Now they're too far apart a lot. So I don't think it's a big deal. Uh-oh. Did you fall? What's going on there? Oh, we have Pete on line 3. Pete, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing all right, Jeremy. How's it going?
It's going. It's going.
It's going. What were you saying? Something hurt your eye?
I just got I got some kind of either bacteria or it's either bacteria or a viral thing going on with my eye. Both my eyes. So they gave me drops and here I am. But it cost me a 90 at 9 this morning. I apologize for that, but you know, we're here and we're ready to go.
All right. Well, now that the real 410 series is starting up this weekend.
Wow.
Give me some hot takes.
Well, I taped my 90 at 9 for tomorrow.
Hey, everybody already hates me anyways. I might as well lean into it.
I just did my 90 at 9 for tomorrow because I didn't know what my eyes would be like in the morning. So I figured I'd get them done as I could. I'll give you a couple. I have Aaron Reitzel to win the title in a close one. I think something people forget is the $50,000 bonus for winning the most high limit races. I think Abreu maybe gets that by 1 or 2. I think the drivers, 2 of your most improved drivers could be Cy Lynch and Brenham Crouch. And then I have some rapid fire ones that I'll leave for the 90 at 9 tomorrow.
So you're going to go ahead and go with Aaron this year, huh?
I am, as long as there's no medical setback like a broken nose or a broken foot. So yeah,
well, I'm sure he's hoping for the same.
Yeah, I think he gets off to a quick start at Vegas. I'll be interested to see how Abreu does. I think Tyler Courtney needs a good start at Vegas, kind of to get rid of that Dirt Car Nationals. That was bad, and it was odd because Courtney's usually good at Volusia, but he wasn't this year. Was for 360s. I thought it would carry over. It didn't. So I think he needs a really good start in Vegas. And I'm actually anxious to go out to Vegas more this year than I was last year because I think there's just more storylines this year. Obviously, Kyle's going to be in the field. That'll be interesting. And, I think it's going to be a good year all the way around for national tour racing.
Yeah, I definitely think there's more stories this year. When you factor all the new team changes and crew chiefs, and I mean, it's kind of crazy how much is going on over there. I had Aaron picked to win it last year, so I would be silly not to take him again this year. I would assume that Rico would be off to a hot start, even with the changes, and I hope Tyler Courtney gets off to a good start. And I think Kerry Madsen and Gio will be some kind of a story all year. And I think that Kerry Madsen will surprise some people.
I think, I think Kerry could win a couple. And I think he's really he's the guy I look at of the non-franchise teams. I feel he's the one who has the best shot of getting to the top 8 just because he's been there, done that. I think,
right.
Yeah, I think.
And you're not including Gio in that because
no, they already have one.
They bought the franchise,
yes.
Right? So okay. That's what I figured you meant. Yeah.
Gio's interesting because I think while Gio doesn't feel the pressure to perform as much as, but the fans have high expectations for Gio. And I think Gio's struggled the last couple years. And I think he needs to get going. He got lapped last week. Now, it was the first night out with a new team. This is a combination Eric Prutzman hasn't worked with as far as engine chassis combination. I think Magnolia Motor Speedway getting rained out last week hurt Gio more than any other driver in the field because I think he could have used another night.
Probably.
And it'll be interesting to see how he does at Vegas.
Right. I think he'll be fun. I mean, I don't think he's going to win the championship, but I think he's going to be okay. And I don't think Kerry Madsen's going to be a threat to win the championship, but I think he's going to do more and be better than what a lot of people think. Just because, like you say, he's been there and done it. He's the wily veteran. He's won, and he's been around.
Yeah, no, I think any times which again, you're putting yourself in position. Look at David Gravel. David Gravel hasn't won in 6 races, which is surprising. But he's tied for the lead in the points because he's just that consistent. He puts himself in position. Now, last week he didn't. And Buddy Kofoid cut into that lead, and Carson Macedo was able to time in the standings. The way too early standings to really even talk about. But Gravel not winning. I mean, this is 6 races. Last year, his longest streak was 8. That happened once. I think he went 6 races 3 times. So, and then stopped at 6. So we'll see what he does this week at Kennedale. It's like I said, the national tours are strong. I think there's going to be a lot of storylines with both, and I'm here for it.
Me as well. I'm looking forward to it. Well, you have a good evening and good luck with your eyes.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
You bet. See ya.
Yep. All right. What else do we got? Just here for the weekly merch update. Working on it. I hope to have it soon. Like in my hand soon. I'm sick of wearing these t-shirts. I'm going to get a couple different designs. One's going to be simpler than the other. And we'll see how it goes. I'll know more by the end of the week. Ask me next week. You'll have a better update. We at least have a design now, though. Any update on Dennis Gainey? I don't know how much I want to say. Let's just say I think you're going to see his car quicker than you think. And obviously anytime you have a legal matter, there can be no public statements. That's just the way it is. I have some inside skinny on what's going on there. We'll know more as the summer goes on, but I think all the stuff that was seen on social media, I think some of that's going to be debunked. So I'll leave it go at that. And I do think you'll see his car sooner rather than later. So I may know something, I may not. Will we get a Chaz Jeremy collab at Vegas this weekend? Look, I know he was talking about that today. Some of the stuff he said just, you know, he doesn't know me as well as he thinks he does. And I have a whole, if people ask me about it, I'll go into it deeper as far as how I feel about some of the things he said. But as a collab, that's a tough deal. You know, I do things kind of on my own, people who are like Ryan Hand. Ryan Hand doesn't do anything anywhere else. So when Ryan Hand and I do the podcast, it's part of my platform. When I do stuff with certain other, very rarely do I do anything that isn't with people who are like Joseph Terrell. If I would do something with Joseph Terrell, who does our West Coast stuff, I pay him. He's part of my platform. I don't like going outside of my platform and what I do. And I do think too that I like doing stuff with those guys because it's a different voice, it's a different opinion, so on and so forth. I don't know. You know, I'm also not a circus clown. Okay. I don't get in there and start cussing and swearing. It's just, I'm sorry. That's just not my gig. You know, so and also I have a lot going on at Vegas. You know, I got Brent Smith will be out there with me as a photographer. He does great stuff. I got interviews to do after the races. I have stories to write. It's the first weekend of the year. So I would say the chances are slim that I would do that really with anybody out there. I would say that's probably not going to happen. Your thoughts on what Chaz was saying about you? That took long. Here's the thing. I know there's this theory out there, or his theory is that I'm two different people on the phone and on my show. That is a lie. Okay. First off, I've been on the phone with him a few times, and politics have come up and other sports has come up. Why would I talk about that on a racing show unless I'm asked on this show? And I probably wouldn't go into politics anyway on this show, regardless if I was asked. That's number one. People tune in to hear racing. They might ask me about hockey, a little bit about football, and I'm okay with that. You know, free agency was great this week. But why would I talk about that as a rule on a racing show? I wouldn't do that. Secondly, there is no issue that I have not addressed on this show that I haven't been asked. You can look. People can ask me whatever they want, and I will answer it to the best of my ability. I think sometimes, and I don't cuss up and down like a sailor on the phone, because no offense to anybody, if you can't think of something better to say than just swear all the time, you're not very smart. You think of ways to say stuff without. So I'm not two different faces. I saw somebody tune me into it, and then I started listening to it. And I thought, I'm not two different people. I will answer anything. Now, am I going to degrade anybody? No, that makes no sense. Am I going to call people bitches? No, I think that's low rent and stupid. I just think it is. And I've told Chaz that. It's a stupid comment. And that's how you get your ass kicked up and down the pit area, because it's pointless. And I know he loves Pat McAfee and Stephen A. Smith. They're not doing that. It doesn't draw you more views. So I just don't, I was formerly trained at a newspaper. I speak with a little bit of, professionalism. Yeah, I'm not going to call people names. But there's no issue I won't talk about if it's presented to me. There's things that, and the other thing is, I can speculate on the phone with Chaz, but if I don't know for sure, I'm not going to speculate on a show. And the other thing is, he made a comment about Fiedler and I in notes. There's no notes in front of me for this show. I have no notes at all. My podcast, no notes. The only thing I have is, and I can show it to everybody, I did the podcast tonight. Our Newsmaker segment, I have a name. I have one line. And then Ryan and I riff on it. We did our third segment. I had an interview with Brenham Crouch. Then I had the third segment was I listed 5 names for high limit and one line. And we talked about each one for 3-4 minutes. I didn't have 3 or 4 minutes worth of notes. Anytime Chaz wants to roll up and do the knowledge comparison, I'm game, because I don't need notes. And I don't have to say, I think, rumor, because I know them. I do this for a living. I'm on the phone 6 hours a day. That is my screen time for a day. Now, some of it's calling other people, yes. But I just think it rubbed me the wrong way, because it just it wasn't true. I've been kicked out of tracks. I've been chastised in the pit area. This whole PC rebel thing, it's crap. It's crap. Just be yourself. That's it. It's propping yourself up, taking shots at someone else. That's what it is. I'm just kind of like, I didn't get it. I just didn't get it. And if he comes up to me this weekend, because I guess he's going to Vegas, I'll tell him that. I just don't get it. I don't understand that. If he doesn't agree with something that I said, that's fine. I don't have any problem with that. I know he disagreed with my argument about Macri. I still think he's flawed. And when you just don't even bring up another sport, because they're not the same. They're nowhere in the same stratosphere. They don't operate the same. This may rub people the wrong way. This is a hobby that less than 10% of the drivers do for a living. It is not professional. It's professional for some. Outlaw guys, high limit guys. That's 29 guys. There's over 600 sprint car drivers, or whatever the number is. Go on sprintcarratings.com and look at it. I mean, let's be honest. I love it. I like it. And I do it for a living, but let's be honest about it. But yeah, just some of the stuff he said, it was weird to me. It was strange, really. I'm the same guy. So anybody who wants to ask me a question, they can ask and I'll answer it. There's not going to be two faces or all that other stuff. I don't know what he was talking about. That's enough of that. Jim from Buffalo. It's always good to hear from you, Jim. I watched your Sabres the other night in the Tampa Bay Lightning. Best game of the year. Best game of the year that I've seen so far.
Oh, that was fantastic.
Awesome.
I even had some friends that are casual fans. They said they were up screaming at the TV. And he said his wife actually watched it. She never watches hockey. So it was knock down, drag him out.
It was, I was just unbelievable. I can't say enough about it.
Well, Sabres are back, baby. Just like Donnie's back. And, a lot of people are saying, the old Donnie, he's not really back. Well, you know what? He's a veteran driver with a veteran crew chief, veteran old school crew chief. He's got a good car, good motors and everything. Yeah. Is he going to win 20 races, 25 races? Nope. Is he going to win 5 to 10? Uh-huh. Is he going to have a good shot at the Nationals? I think so. I mean, like I said, a lot of people are trying to poo-poo this, but he seems happy, and he hasn't been for the last few years.
First off, I don't know what he's back means. Does that mean he's going to contend? Now, look, when I hear back, I mean contending for a title. He's not contending for a title. everybody has different.
No. What I mean by
yeah, I know what you mean. He's going to win. He's going to win a few races, however many it is. He's going to be better than he was last year. Yes, I agree with that. I
guess what I mean is he's going to be in the conversation, just like the Sabres. They're in the conversation now, and when he shows up, you go, he's got a chance tonight.
I think he's going to be more of a factor. I think he's going to be more of a factor in the big races. I think one of the things that's missing in this story is, and I did it Monday on the 90 at 9, was the CJB thing. They've gone 180 races without winning.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody really talked about that. So I think it's a good combination. I think Donnie's doing well. I think Brenham Crouch is going to benefit from this. It looks like they got through, Donnie and Barry got through the rear end stuff. They had no problems at Talladega Short Track. The problem is, and this is from the mob, this isn't from me. When I say the mob, I mean the crowd. I think is, okay, now what's going to happen this week? And if it doesn't go as well this week, is it going to be like, is it going to be that letdown? Look, I think this is a good landing spot for Donnie. I do think he is reinvigorated. I do think he is having more fun than he did in the past 2-3 years. Good for him. I mean, I think that's good. He deserves that.
Yeah, I agree. One thing I saw somebody was talking about, is there any truth to the rumor that, and I looked at the schedule, that NARC was used as a kind of like a blocking back in California to keep the Outlaws away from certain speedways on certain dates?
Well, I don't buy that simply because what tracks would they go to? Because they couldn't go to Tulare because of the fair. They're not going to Silver Dollar because Brad and Kyle and Copeland are there. Placerville.
Yep.
I don't think Placerville is going to host 2 national races because, high limits there. I don't think, Stockton, what's going on there? I mean, the Outlaws are there.
I mean,
where are they?
The place I'm thinking about, and nobody's going there, unfortunately, is Calistoga.
Yeah.
I'd love to see him back there.
Well, and that's the thing. I don't know where people think that the Outlaws were going to go. They're not going to go to Paris. It'll be $180 to park.
Oh, dear God. Yeah.
So no, I don't buy that. I don't buy that. I just don't buy that.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait for this weekend when they're down in Texas. Doubleheader hopefully won't get rained out either night. And one thing I got to say, judging by how he's been running and being aggressive, I might be wrong on Tanner Holmes. I hope I am. Good for him. He got out there, he got on the gas, and he made the dash a couple times. Good for him. I'm happy for him.
I think we'll see. I think obviously the jury's still out. I think I'm anxious to see him in Vegas this week. You run a couple time trial. Again, that's how these series work. You run, if you can time well, you put yourself in position. Now they had some mechanical problems. Obviously need to clean that up. I've talked about Tanner Holmes on my 90 at 9 for tomorrow, and we talked about him on the podcast. Just, I think there's going to be times he struggles. I think there's times he'll do better. I think he could steal a win on the West Coast, and we'll see how he progresses throughout the season. I do think he'll be Rookie of the Year.
Because I agree.
It's him and Hank
I hope
Davis.
He does.
It's him and Hank Davis.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the boot car,
I like it.
A little better.
Yeah, I agree. So, anyways, but in real, before I go, I gotta say, in real life, you are what you are. That's why I call you Mr. Grumpy Pants. It's like you're always going somewhere with a microphone to talk to somebody. I got
to tell you, Jim, are you going to be up late tonight?
Probably not.
Colorado Avalanche,
Why, what's
Edmonton
that?
Oilers. Colorado Avalanche, Edmonton Oilers at 10. I guarantee you I will not be on this show at 10 o'clock.
Yeah. Well, I hope not. Jeez, you can't talk about so much stuff for that. But anyways, yeah, I got to get out of here because the Sabres are starting the second period, leading 2-1 after the first. So I already had 2 fights in this one. So they're getting ready for the playoffs. But anyways, hey, have a great week, everybody. Have a safe flight and enjoy the racing.
Thank you very much, Jim. I
Bye-bye.
appreciate it. Jim from Buffalo, always good. Somebody wanted me to make, I think it was my daughter. My daughter was listening to the show last week, and she likes Jim from Buffalo because he talks about hockey. Okay. Hang on a second here. Are you going to have a post-race show this weekend? I won't know until I get there. The lay of the land. The problem is I'm 3 hours behind. So I would lose the whole East Coast. That's the other thing with doing any collaborative efforts, right? It's next day. It's going to be, till they get done, it's probably going to be 1 o'clock East Coast. And I mean, no offense, East Coast has more fans in general, or a bigger group. So it kind of makes it hard to do a post-race show when you're 3 hours behind the East Coast. So I'm a little leery of that. I'll check out the lay of the land and see the interest level. I mean, maybe people in here could tell me if that's something that they would listen to. I don't know. What's the plan for Steven Snyder Jr. in the 27H for this year? I noticed this car on the All-Star Circuit of Champions Facebook in a graphic. Didn't know if that was any hint of the schedule. From what I know, they have not announced anything like that. There will be an announcement soon from another driver. I hope I have the story. I just didn't write it yet, but it's not Steven Snyder Jr. I do expect him to run more 410 races this year. I think it's progressing. I think for him to expand his schedule to the point where he's running 70 races, the 27H can't do that. I mean, Kurt Michael has admitted that. I talked to him at Eldora last year. He would love for Steven Snyder Jr. to kind of get a bump up with another team. He was a consideration for the boot car. I know I talked to the crew chief, Sean Strasball, about that. It was a consideration. So, again, I just think he's going to have to get with another team to really boost his races a ton. But I do expect him to run more 410 races this year. I think he's a talent. Does a good job. Were you surprised Sheldon and Ripper turned it around so much after DCN? No. Again, I think the tracks are a certain way too. I think you put Sheldon Hodenshield on a small track, he's going to be good for the most part. And they had a 3-week break between the Dirt Car Nationals and Bike Week. And then, of course, last week at Talladega Short Track. I don't think it's not a surprise. I expected him to do well at the Talladega Short Track. Or at Dirt Car Nationals, and it didn't happen. So I just think it was a blip. They came back, reset, and I think they'll be good again, much like other years, short tracks. I expect them to do well this weekend or be, in and around the top 5 this weekend. So I'm not surprised. Do you think we'll ever see Alan Crimes back in a sprint car? I miss seeing him at the track. I don't think so. I think he has a kid now. I would be surprised. And it's so expensive. And he kind of ran his own deal, and it's not getting cheaper. So I would be surprised if we see Alan Crimes back at it. Sorry. I liked him too. I like seeing him at the track, and so it's a loss. It's a loss for the area anytime you lose a car, and a consistent car. Donnie Schatz's win looked like like almost the old Donnie. Do you think the team figured out how they can put a fast car on the track and keep Donnie in the championship conversation? I think that's a reach. I think the championship conversation is a big reach. I don't think David Gravel's going to slow down. I don't think Buddy Kofoid's going to slow down, and I don't think Carson Macedo is going to slow down enough for Donnie to catch him. Donnie's obviously he's going to need some major help to get in that conversation. And I mean, granted it's early in the season, but no, I don't think he's in the championship conversation as of now. And I think just enjoy him running well. I think that's the expectation. I think he's going to win 3 to 5 races. And I think he's going to have a much better year than last year, but championship, no. John on line 6. John, how are you?
Hey, good evening, Jeremy. I got a question for you regarding Lincoln race the other day. See, only 3 cars finished the race on the lead lap because of the wreck coming to the checkered flag. And this came up on social media, so I figured I'd ask you a question about it. Because the other cars did not complete 30 laps, they only completed 29 laps. Wouldn't they all go back to the last lap scored, which was 29? Because that's the only place on the track where the cars can be scored. You follow what I'm saying?
Yep.
Okay, because here's what I did. Because they were talking about this on social media. So I went to the Lincoln Speedway rulebook, since it was an unsanctioned race. And it said here, this is exactly what I'm going to read verbatim here real quick.
Go ahead.
In case of a yellow flag or red flag, if after the race leader is crossed, okay, the scoring loop, and receive the checkered flag, cars that have passed the finish line under the green flag, which was the 3 cars.
Yep.
There were 1, 2, and 3 in the order. Conditions are going to be scored on that lap. And then it says, and all remaining cars will revert back to the last completed lap to determine the official finish. Well, Danny Dietrich, he was running 5th when he crossed the line at the end when he took the white flag. And I know he crashed, and I know in a typical situation, they would go to the back of, the cars on the lead lap. But in this case, the rule says, like I said, someone brought this up, so I looked at it. Well, it says all remaining cars will revert back to the last lap completed. And the reason I'm asking too is because of gambling and stuff. When people gamble on these races, you have to have the scoring exactly right. Now, you can tell me I'm totally wrong, and I'm not going to argue with you, but I just wanted to bring this point up.
And everything I've seen, everybody goes back to the last scored lap except the cars that bring out the red flag.
Okay, understood. So they have another rule in here, and it mentions that.
Yep.
Because it says on a restart, say yellow or red flags displayed before the field completes the first lap, a single complete file restart will be made except for any cars involved in the stoppage or cars that went to the pit area. Those cars shall be placed at the rear of the field.
Okay.
So I understand what you're saying, but this is their rule from their website. So it got me thinking, because a lot of people, there's some debate about this, and I understand that because I watch racing too, and I understand all that, like everybody on this show. But it just seems like maybe people didn't really, read this properly, because let's just say, I'm not into all this gambling, but let's just say somebody bet Danny Dietrich to be in the top 5.
Correct.
And I know he crashed, but he got declared 16th at the end of the race.
Yes.
By their rule, an unsanctioned race, he should have been declared 5th, the way I understand. Somebody brought this up on the social media.
I think the rule is written.
So I think somebody might want to take a look at this.
Yeah, I think the rule is written poorly, because I've always seen it.
So you're saying it's left to interpretation.
Yes, because
I'm just saying.
Well, okay, so
when you talk about gambling, they got to tighten this stuff up, I would think.
Well, again, you're not gambling on local shows either. There's no gambling. Okay. Yeah, there's no gambling on local shows. So gambling is the biggest nothing burger in this sport, by the way. So if you can't, yeah, but I see what you're saying. I've always understood it across the board that it goes back for the scoring, but minus the two remaining guys, the two guys who brought out the caution or whoever brought out the red flag, whatever it was.
Yeah, it was a red.
Yeah,
it was actually
it was
a red. So that would
Yeah.
that stopped everybody and
Right.
froze the field back
Correct.
to the white flag. So I think
Yes.
Freddie Raymer got fourth because he was the fourth car, but
Correct.
he didn't complete 30 laps. He only completed 29.
Correct. But
So I think
I've always understood it that the cars that crashed they go at the end of they're the ones who don't get that benefit. Let's put it that way. It's the remaining.
No, I understand your point. I just think
It's written
maybe we ought to
poorly.
revise the rule a little bit.
Well, it's written poorly. It
Yeah.
says all remaining cars, and it should say all remaining cars who are running at the end of the race is what it should say. So
Okay, that's fine.
unless
I was just curious, if that came up in any other
Right.
shop or anything or any other time.
now again,
Okay, well, thank you for your time.
no problem. Again, unless they changed it or something, I've always understood it that if a car brings out the red and the race is over, they don't get the benefit of going back to the last scored lap. So I don't know. Maybe they changed it. Oh, Chaz on line 7. Yes, Chaz. What's up?
Hey, what's going on?
I'm doing my live show. That's it.
Oh, I know you. I know you're doing your live show. I do want to call in because obviously there was a little segment there.
Yeah.
I think the misinterpretation here is different. When I was in my show today talking about a Jeremy on the phone and a Jeremy on the show. So when I was saying that, what I believe, and I think a few people would agree, I think you're a little more animated in personal conversation. I think you get a little more fired up. And so that's what I was more so trying to allude was the two different styles of person.
Well,
And then I defended like in 10 minutes from that, or like it was
I
like
heard
2
it.
minutes from that. I was like, also there's opinions that you have that obviously, well, you could say political as well, but there's personal opinions you probably have of people and teams and drivers that you obviously leave out due to the professionalism that you're trying to display.
well, okay,
But
first off,
my personal opinion is the fired up. I feel like you get more animated in personal
well,
conversation.
first off, that's not a misinterpretation. Okay, that's a misspeaking on your part. So it's not a misinterpretation.
Well, two faces and all that. I mean, I wasn't just talking about you. Obviously, your name was included.
But here's the
So-
thing. I'm animated depending on the topic. It's not that I'm animated more on the phone. It depends on what the topic is. I've been very animated enough to get kicked out of Sealands Grove Speedway last year as far as a credential. So it depends on the topic. There's some topics that I just don't feel.
Well, I haven't seen it on a show though. That's what I mean. That's why I was saying if we were on a show, I think I would outperform you because I think you. It's not fakeness. I'm not saying you're fake when you're not being animated, but I do feel like there's a gear you could shift into that due to your, professional raising and reporting and doing things, you don't shift that gear. That makes sense.
I also don't believe you yelling and screaming is a way to get a point across. I don't think it's.
Well, I don't even think you've yelled and screamed at me on a phone, Jeremy.
Well,
I'm just saying.
No. I'm saying
it comes across as more passionate.
Well, I think the fact that I have 550 shows and videos, I think that shows I'm passionate enough. But when I do a thing, I sometimes express things in different ways, but it's not. If I'm talking about a certain topic, especially on my podcast on the website, that's where it probably gets more animated than any place other than here at times when I talk about certain topics. It depends what it is. It's not a I'm on air. Boy, I can't say that. No, I've never filtered anything down.
You don't think it's insecurity based?
I could care less. What?
Okay, I'm just making sure. I mean, some people
less.
are scared to let that gear
For
go.
what?
They're worried about the judgment.
From who?
The judgment. Well, I
From
mean,
who?
most people are just public speaking is hard because they're worried about making a mistake and looking dumb, or somebody not liking them or somebody not accepting them. You know,
I could care
that's
less.
usually why people don't shift gears into emotional expression on camera.
I've been on camera. I've broadcasted high school wrestling in the state of Pennsylvania. I've been on national wrestling shows. I've done other stuff. Yeah, it doesn't faze me. I don't care. I just don't care.
Okay. So then in my point in saying that you are a little less animated on these shows than sometimes, I guess you were at Selinsgrove animated, but you don't really get animated like I've experienced. You get animated on some topics, and I just like that expression better. I guess it's just my style, right? It's just styles, I guess.
Well,
it's a difference here.
Style's one thing, but the other.
I just think you have that style. That's what I'm saying. I think your style like that would be really entertaining.
Well,
you know, it would show you can transfer the passion of the topic by being that way. It's not like it's fake. It's almost more authentic.
Well, you didn't listen to me when the Outlaws raced with a car in the fence at River Cities. That's the most animated I've ever been.
Okay, that was 4 years ago. So then you've toned it down over the years. They say I've toned it down. You know, Lance Louise said that to me. So you've toned it down, or
no? It's just if you get animated about everything, it loses its effect.
Right. Well, there's plenty of times today, like in my video, I'm just sitting there talking, but then it depends on what I'm talking about. It changes the emotional.
It's not the point.
Right.
That's not the point. Point is, me and getting animated only happen. I'm not going to get animated about some mundane thing that I don't think is a big deal. If I get animated, people know that it's an important issue. I've criticized gambling.
Right.
I've criticized the gambling as the biggest nothing burger in the last how many years? I mean, I've dropped that.
Oh, it is. I mean,
But I mean,
I would have loved to run with that, but it just didn't have legs, like you say. I mean, it's almost impossible how it's set up. So
yeah. So I get animated when it's warranted. But it's not a deal where I censor myself. I don't censor myself ever. Never.
Right.
And I can on
I'm pretty sure I gave you credit today as well and said you're like the best professional we got. So
I didn't hear that.
I mean, I thought I was complimenting.
I didn't hear that.
I was like, if you're mad at Jeremy, you shouldn't be. I'm pretty sure I said that.
Yeah, but that's because you compare me to
word
Donald Trump. You said you compared me to, then you shouldn't be mad at Donald Trump or anything else, and putting us.
Yeah, you shouldn't be mad at anybody on a TV that has any kind of like, resolve to what they're saying.
But again, I don't.
Right. I mean, it's a big spectrum, obviously.
I don't view myself that way. I give my opinion, and I have no notes, by the way. All these I don't have notes, just for your information.
Well, that would be a 90 at 9 more so situation, I guess. That's the note thing.
And
right?
And by the way, all my 90 at 9s, most of them are all opinion based. All of them.
Right.
Well, you said
but
they're not.
They're written though, right? Or no?
They're written, and I memorize them.
Those are ad lib.
And then I ad lib it.
Okay.
There's no teleprompter for me.
Okay.
So
that's good.
So
that's, obviously the live shows are not, but
I don't have anything. I do have my picks for this week that Ryan
Hand
and I did. That's it. So, but hey,
for both shows.
What's that? Those are the
for both shows.
No, that's just for the podcast. That'll be out tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
But
alrighty, well,
I got to get back to the chat.
Sorry to be a circus clown, Jeremy. I got to go back to clowning the chat.
Okay.
That's what you got. Fine.
Yeah. All right. All right. We'll see you in Vegas.
All right.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Let's get back to the chat. What do you think of Jordan Givler wrecking Macri on Sunday? I didn't view it that way. I viewed it two guys going in the same for a very small area on a track that wasn't wide at the time. And that's what happened. And Givler was in front of him. I mean, he's not supposed to just give the spot up. I don't think it was a big egregious thing. It's daylight racing in turn 1 at Lincoln, running for like fifth or whatever it was. So I don't believe Givler wrecked him. Trust me, I've seen a lot worse. Wondering how many wins Brent Marks gets with all the new changes. It's a tough one. And when I did the projections for tomorrow, I can't do a 90 or I can't do a 5 minutes at 90 or 5 minutes at 9, excuse me. I think he's in that 4 or 5 range that he normally is. I think he has a younger crew, so I think that could take some time. He didn't look terrible at the Dirt Car Nationals. Did make a dash. I don't know. We got to see him with high limit. That's a tough one. Brent Marks is probably, for me, the toughest guy to handicap with high limit this year. In all honesty. Toughest guy for me to handicap. I can admit when I just don't know. I would guess like in that 4 to 5 win range. Maybe pop a bigger one, 20 grand or more. He's just so hard to get a gauge on this year. Not sure if this was touched on, but any opinion on the scale debate after Heat won at Lincoln that rolled into 4 DQs? I do not. And the reason is because I don't know enough about it. Because I didn't really see, I was in the pit grandstand, which is right near the scale, and I didn't see anything wonky. I didn't see any complaining. So it didn't draw my attention. And it's hard to hear back there. I probably wasn't at the right spot. Normally, I'm always pretty good at being in the right spot to catch that stuff. And admittedly, I wasn't. Admittedly, that's on me. I apologize. Normally, I'm always, some drivers would say, or some officials would say, I'm in the right spot at the wrong time for them. But I just didn't catch it. Does Central PA have too many series? While I was at Lincoln Saturday, Wayne said that the Hosehead series is now the Keystone King. So PA now has each individual track, Keystone King, PA Posse 410. It's funny you brought that up. That I did catch at Lincoln. And I think it's very confusing. And I think what Central Pennsylvania has done now is made it too confusing. Their track championships are like 3 guys. They're only paying the top 3 guys, and it's really scaled back. Okay, so you might as well throw them out because I think every track has rolled their point fund into the PA Posse series, the PA Posse 410 Sprint Car series. So Hosehead, Alan Holland, decided to keep his deal and do something separate for it. He rolled things also into the PA Posse, but he wanted to keep a little something smaller for all the races that weren't part of the series. So, yeah, it's confusing. It's going to and Wayne didn't do a great job explaining it. And it's just a lot. So, yeah, but you have 2 series. PA Posse 410, it's 50,000 to win. That's the 47 races, but it's only 37 point races, including the other 10 are the PA Speed Week races, which are non-points. And then you have the Hoseheads deal with that. It's the other 62 races in the area outside of the series, I believe. And then you have your individual tracks, but they're going to be really scaled back and only pay like 3 guys. So that's what you got. If that explains it maybe a little better. Have they said if Corey Day is running Vegas? Oh, you know what? I didn't even think of that. I've not heard. I wouldn't be surprised. There's nothing has been released as of I got home, and then I did my podcast with Ryan. Then I did my 90 at 9 so I could watch the Colorado and Edmonton. And then I jumped on this show. So I didn't see if they updated or released a driver roster yet. I expected it more tomorrow to see that. I do not know if he's running Vegas, though. Peck dominated 360s at Volusia last year and flopped into 410s just like Courtney this year. Yeah, but I do expect Courtney to come around. I think maybe I know he was involved in an incident at the one show at Dirt Car Nationals. I expect better at Vegas this week. Justin Peck's also an interesting story for High Limit. I grew up watching the URC in Delaware. Sad to see what they have become. Any chance they can build back up, or will they be gone in the next couple of years? What would you suggest to build it back up? Unfortunately, yes, I do think they're going to be gone. I just think 360 racing is declining everywhere in the country, except maybe California, maybe Knoxville and ASCS, but it's just you have all these regional 410 series now, and I think that's those like Power Eye, All Stars, IRA, NARC. I just think they're picking up some steam. As for what I would suggest to build it back up, see, the problem in Central PA is you'll have a couple guys who aren't happy with a series, and then they'll go out and start another series. Steve Wilbur didn't like what was going on in Super Sportsman, so he started wingless Super Sportsman. Some guys didn't like what was going on with URC, so they started East Coast USAC. We have too many divisions in Central PA. That's why I don't think you can build it back up. We have way too many series. We have 305s, 358s, URC, which is 360s. Then you have wingless Super Sportsman, and then which are wing cars, and then you have your East Coast. It's just too much. And then you have all your micro divisions. There's just too many series dividing up. They eat each other. So I don't think that's a problem you're going to fix. I have no suggestion because I just don't think it's going to happen. Corey Day is racing all 3 nights. High Limit, thank you very much. Eric Schneck, producer Eric, doing a good job. Thank you. Kyle Larson and him. Is Deweese having mechanical glitches? Brakes. He's had brake issues the first 2. He came off the track at the beginning of the A main and had to switch out the MSD box. Got back on the track, tagged the rear, and they had brake issues. I think, yeah, it's little glitches, but I think Deweese is going to race a lot more this year than he has in the past. I think he's going to be more, he's going to be a regular at tracks more than you think. Have you heard of what Lucas Wolf's plans are this year? I've talked to Lucas a few times. I think we'll have to wait and see the Port Royal opener or Williams Grove opener to see what's going on with him. I'll let it go at that. I'm not allowed to say too much, but his plan is to run those 2 events tentatively. Did Vegas do anything to remove the rocks from their dirt? Is there anything a track can do to somewhat easily filter the rocks? Look, pick them out. The problem with Vegas is look where it's built. You're really at the base of the mountain. It's going to be rocky. There's no way. It's always been that way. I don't think that's something you're going to fix. I think you could go around and just try and pick up as many rocks out of the place as you can. I don't think that you're going to change that. Unfortunately. That's tough to get rid of rocks when that's pretty much what you got out there. 69K going to Vegas. No, not that I know of. They're going to Skagit this year, so they're not going to go to Vegas. Ever considered doing the Tuesday show from the front seat of a car? I have not. No. Although it'd probably be better because you wouldn't see me on the screen. Hey, Jeremy, hope you're having a good day. My question, do to you is, do you think in the future High Limit and World Racing Group will ever work together when it comes to the big money shows so both series can show up? I think they do now. I think Eldora, Knoxville. I think High Limit allows their guys to go to all the World of Outlaws big shows. And the only ones that World Racing Group or the Outlaw guys can't go to is Silver Dollar and Skagit. And that's because the Outlaws are in the upper Midwest usually at that time. They're in two different areas of the country. And then the Weikert, which that's the one where they purposely, and they can say they didn't, they purposely went to Houston's. So guys wouldn't go from Ohio to the Weikert finale. They can say they didn't. I'm not buying that. So I just think they're in two. High Limit guys can run all of them. Every six-figure payday, High Limit guys can run. I don't think you're going to see them work together as far as, hey, let's sit down and mesh our schedules. I don't think that'll ever happen. I think Brad wanted his guys to be able to run all those. And that's what happens. I don't think you'll see help or work together in maybe the way you mean. But they still get to run all the Eldora, Knoxville. They still run all those. And look, the World Racing Group's happy those guys come to Houston's. At least they have a choice between Houston's and Super Dirt Cup. So they won't work together like you want them to. The one and only Sugar Bear on line 9. This is a first. Sugar Bear, how you doing?
This is the Sugar Bear.
What's up?
I have got the most unpopular opinion, but I think it's going to become the most popular opinion in just a moment.
Go ahead.
I think the most exciting aspect in sprint car racing could be the work area and the dash draw. And here's how it's going to become the most entertaining.
Go ahead.
The work area, you have to put the timer on the screen, on the big screen at the track and on the TV at home. And the infield announcer has to be present at the location of the work area, and each car in the work area has to have an official timing it out, and the crowd's going to go wild because it's going to actually be real 2 minutes, not 10 minutes for gravel that they say is 2 minutes, not 12 minutes for Sheldon when it's actually 2 minutes, actually 2 minutes. So that's my take. I think that work area could be really exciting, even though it is a little bit unconventional. Number 2, the dash draw, you pull all the cars out that are going to be in the dash, and you have fans, whether it's little kids or super fans, draw the numbers, draw the pills right away, and then the cars line up right in those positions and a dash starts.
Okay, I like the dash idea. Look, the work area isn't going away, so I'd love if there was a clock on a Jumbotron, or they could do it on their traveling Jumbotron. It's big enough you can see it.
Right.
And run split screen. Like if you have 3 cars in there, you have a timer for each. I would like that. I would be okay with that. I still don't like the work area. I'm never going to like the work area, but I could accept it. I'm going for acceptance because I know I'm not going to get rid of it. So you know what, Sugar Bear? I like your ideas.
And you know what? Anything can be entertaining if you try to make it entertaining. At this point, the dash draw is the most unentertaining aspect of the show. I don't want to hear these drivers talk. They got nothing to say. Let's just call an audible. None of them are on the mic. Have little kids or somebody pull the pills. Have the drivers in the car, push them off, get them into position. Let's go. Like, it's going to be on the fly, immediate excitement. That's what you need. Same with the work area. Are they going to get her done in 2 minutes? They're counting it down. 10 seconds left, counting it down, boom, boom, boom. The fans are going to be going wild for that. I think that's going to be a hot aspect of the show, even if it is an unconventional aspect of the sport.
I can't disagree with that. Can't disagree with you. Wish I could,
That's
but
all
I
I got.
Look at you bringing it. Good ideas.
Right. I think once in a while, unlike the Chaz.
No.
So.
All right, Sugar Bear. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Good night.
Yep. Always interesting when Sugar Bear comes on the show, whether it's the chat, first time call. It's good to get him on. I like the idea, especially for the 2 minutes. I will say I do like the high limit wheel and the question. It's at least a question from the fan. It's not the same old thing. I don't need to hear how David Gravel's season's going 50 times. I know it's going well. He finishes in the top 5 all the time. So something. Yeah, not bad ideas. Ravens backed out of the Max Crosby trade. What? Is that true, Eric? That can't be. That's new. I have not. Now I can't let that one go. Can't let that one go. Hang on. That can't be true. Hang on. Yes, they did. Wow. 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 I'm stunned. You'll have to excuse me. Holy crap. Because of injury. I don't blame him. Don't blame him. Giving 2 number 1s up, you don't want an injured player. You got to pass the physical. They always say that. Thank you to Dave Byro, DB3, for just texting me. Thanks, Dave. Down the line, if you get another one-on-one with Gainey to get the full story out, that would be a very interesting story to hear. When this is all said and done, and I do the research that I need to do, because when I was at the newspaper, I handled an embezzlement case or two with a hockey club and some other stuff. I want to make, when you do any kind of story like that, and this is why I've not commented much on the Dennis Gainey story, because I didn't have all the information. I'm not just going to take screenshots on Twitter or hearsay. I had believe it or not, I had my ex-wife look up the case online because she's a paralegal. So I do have the information, but there's some things that are in the weeds yet. When I get the whole story, and if people are willing to talk, I will gladly do that interview. Just so everybody knows, I'm going to ask hard questions because it's a different kind of animal. So I'm up for it, but I'm not going to rush to judgment. That's a dangerous thing to do. Why was Lincoln unsuccessful in streaming weekly with Flow, but the 2 other weekly 410 tracks, Williams Grove Dirt Vision and Port Royal, will continue to stream weekly? You got to remember, Dirt Vision has 6 World of Outlaws events at Williams Grove. I mean, that matters. Flow in at Port Royal, I think, and I'm taking a liberty here, Flow views Port Royal as its flagship track. And I know that to be true because I tried to get Port Royal, and I've talked to people at Flow, and it's their flagship track. They have 8 high limit races there this year. Normally they're going to have 6. Steve O'Neill said the two that are in July, might not return next year. It's just the way the calendar falls. Just that's why it's like that this year. But I think Flo has made Port Royal on the level that the Outlaws made Williams Grove for Dirt Vision. Lincoln, I think you have a different management group down there. I think they view things a little differently. I think, they were all Flo for a while, and then they cut back to that 12 shows, I believe, which cut back the money they received, obviously. But I think they were trying to kind of what works best for them at Lincoln, and they didn't have all the sanction shows that Port Royal and Williams Grove had. Lincoln had one World of Outlaws show, and then they had two, but that was only for a year or two. So again, I just think it's just different tracks with different dynamics. Were there any streaming issues from PA Posse from Lincoln this weekend? Yeah, I mean, they had a couple. I saw some stuff online with after heat races, it timed out or buffered out, and they couldn't get it. It wasn't as bad as week one. Week one was not good. But again, as I said, week one, it's not as easy as you think to stream. Your bandwidth has got to be a certain deal. I've heard that they got a new server, so it worked better this week. Still had some problems. There are some people online. I will say I know people who didn't get a refund from week one, and I don't agree with that. I don't care that you saw the feature. You missed half the program. That you got to give a refund there. I know they were giving credits to some, but it's not across the board. So I think they have some customer service issues to work out. But I mean, again, it's not my deal. So it's something that they're going to have to work through. That's about, I mean, again, I'm not up in the tower. I'm not working on it. So I can't say, I do know they're new at it, and we'll see if it improves for people. But again, they have some issues that they're going to have to work out as the year progresses. Make sure you hit the like button. 348 watching, less than 70. Thank you very much. I always appreciate that. If there is a PA Posse race at a track that uses Dirt Vision, how does that work? It goes to Dirt Vision. Williams Grove's Dirt Vision's not going to back down, for that. What's the plans for JJ Hickle this weekend? I see what you're doing there. Not at liberty to say. Sheldon has been impressive so far with KCP. We'll see if he stays consistent, but looks like he might be top 5 points contender. Yeah, I think he's in that 4th, 5th, 6th. You got Schott, Sheldon, and Schuhart. Those three guys, in my opinion, are going to battle for those 3 spots. I think the top 3 are the top 3, and Sheldon's going to be left, scrapping for 4th, 5th, 6th with Schatz and Schuhart. I like that name too. After the scales, what was the issues? What were the issues with Brent Marks spinning out in the heat race Friday night? Definitely put him behind for the night. I've not talked to Brent, so I have no idea what the deal was. I wish I could give you an answer there. I don't know. Do you think Jacob Allen will ever get the itch to come back and race again? I miss that dude. No, I think you're going to see him I think he enjoys his role running that team and being the crew chief. He seems to really enjoy that. I don't think you're going to see him back in the car. Maybe someday when his kid, he has the kid, the wife, when things are settled, they don't have the young one anymore. But that's so far in the future. I just think he enjoys the crew chief end. And Torgerson looks good. Why would you take him out? Jeremy, how many do you think Reitzel wins this year? I think he's going to go home and win a few. So I'm going to say 11, 12 total. I think high limit 8 or 9. Will Seabell be running at Las Vegas dirt track? I wouldn't know what car he would run. So that I'm sorry. I feel disappointed. I didn't know Corey Day was going to run. I thought it was, possible, but I don't know what car Christopher Bell would run. Will we see fuel issues again at Vegas? If I remember correctly, Vegas was the start of a bunch of fuel issues last year. I doubt it. I'm quite sure with it being 86, 89, and 90 with like 13% humidity every day and winds of 8 miles per hour, I would think that Mike Hess is going to change the lap count and that it will not be an issue. I doubt highly if it'll be an issue. But yes, it was what started everything last year. This is like Taco Tuesday. Sprint Car Limited is a must. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. By the way, just an update. Thank you, Dave Byro, again. He's giving me my NFL skinny. The Ravens didn't like the recovery time and didn't think he would be ready for the season. Bell's not going to be on the float broadcast. Makes sense. I don't know what he would run. I don't know what car he would jump in. And he's not allowed to race within a 24 hours of racing the Cup car. Think Reitzel will run a rock guard this year. What about Gibbs? He's going to lost wage. Is he going to lost wages again? I don't know if I would wear a rock guard. I wouldn't be surprised if Reitzel puts one on for that place. I wouldn't be surprised at all. What else we got? The old Reading Fairgrounds had a 3-minute clock above the scoring tower, and Sugar Bear was right. Fans went nuts if a certain driver couldn't beat the clock. I think it would help. I think the one thing the work area does is people are skeptical about it. People are skeptical, and that's bad. Look, soccer, you never know how much time's added. Now they changed that rule. So the clock would take any guesswork out. I think it would help, and I think it would speed things up. You think any new names will run the All-Stars? Yes. I know one in particular. I have the story sitting in my inbox. Not a big name. I think it's just going to be regional guys. I think that's what that series is for. That's what I think Power Eye's for. I think they're a developmental series now, and that's what they should be. You race those, then move up. To me, it's a good way to get your feet wet. So it's not going to be big names. You're going to have Cale Thomas. You're going to have Caleb Henry. You're going to have, Jeremy Weaver. You're going to have guys like that. And there's a name coming. So it's going to be new. He's run a national tour in the past. And we'll leave it go at that. I don't want to ruin the story. Oh, God. Recruit some ring girls in Vegas to represent each driver in the dash draw. Would draw the male fans. I never really understood that, but yes. Okay. What do you think about Rico Reitzel and others going to Skagit for Dirt Cup? Makes sense. You know, it's Kevin Rudeen is obviously entrenched in high limit and with Brad Sweet. I think there's a partnership there. And I think high limit guys want to go support the guy who's helping put on some of these big races. I think it makes sense. You know, and I think, who knows, there might be some travel expenses picked up. I mean, which is nothing new. That happened years and years and years ago. When the Outlaws go to New York, they'll pay tow money to some guys in PA to come up and run with them. It's not new. I know people, no, that's terrible. No, that's been going on for years. But no, I'm not surprised at all. I might go to Super Dirt Cup. I haven't made a decision yet. Prediction on who will get first career 410 win this year in Central Pennsylvania. Wow. Can't remember if he won. I have a name in my head. I just got to check my Jake Carklin. He is not. My records show he hasn't won. So there's one where I looked at notes. I think Jake Carklin is a guy, I think, who could win. So do you think the sprint car crowd is a little envious of the Dome show due to the venue? I assume you mean the Dome for the late model deal. Is that what you mean? You're going to have to clarify that. I don't think they're envious. I don't think the drivers are envious. I think it's a late model deal. I think people want an off season. I don't know how much it would draw if that's what you mean. If you mean the late model show in the Dome. Do you think Rico will go back to back? I took Aaron Reitzel to win it this year. What is Kurt Williamson doing now? I don't know what he's going to do. I've heard things about the 35. I could see Kurt Williamson working with Austin Bishop. I've heard about that. So that's my thought. I think he could be working with Austin Bishop. Other than that, I'm not sure. Because I don't know if the 35 is running much this year. They had some things change recently. So I know Austin Bishop's going to break his own car out more. And I think Kurt might be helping on that, unless that's changed. That's the last I heard. He's good mechanic, though. He was with Chase Dietz before Chase got in the 23 Stamen car, and that 2D was fast. Kurt Williamson's very underrated. Everyone talking about Donnie Schatz, and rightfully so. But what about Bryce Lucius's performance? He was impressive. He looked good. He's had speed in the past. I mean, he made that dash 1 year and then flipped. That's how Swank tore his bicep, I think, trying to get that, or, that muscle in his arm, trying to get the car back together. I think Bryce has speed. It's just a matter of maybe slowing him down a little bit sometimes. He had a great run. I think he has a future. I think Bryce, Swank told me about him a while ago, even before he worked with him. And checking him out, he definitely don't have to worry about speeding him up. Maybe slow him down at times, but I think I like what I've seen so far. Will on line 10. Will, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I was like to talk about Corey Day. Now, what's your opinion on him continuing to do the sprint car racing when he's trying to learn a whole different discipline, which takes a whole different mindset? Doesn't it sort of put him behind on his stock car deal when he keeps doing that?
No, I think he spends a lot of time on the simulator, and excuse me, I think Corey's really cut back on the sprint car stuff. I think they're only going to run like 25 races this year, something like that. And I think Corey Day's fully committed. I know he spends a lot of time on the simulator. It is his number one priority. So no, I don't think the sprint car stuff hurts the Cup stuff at all.
I'm just going by what I see from the couch. You know, it looks like he's trying to drive a stock car like a sprint car. You know, it's like he's in the Trophy Cup, and every second, every time you're on the track means something. You got to run as hard as you can, and stock car race is not like that.
It takes a while to learn that. I mean, Larson did the same thing. Now Larson's Larson. Okay. Larson is a generational talent, and I don't think Corey's as good as Kyle is, but it takes time. How many starts does Corey Day have in a stock car? Does he even have?
Not very many.
Yeah. I mean, you can't expect him to go out and boom, win right away. It's not how it works. So Jeff Gordon didn't do it. So, you know, you're going to have struggles. It's something he's going to have to learn. He's going to have to learn patience. He's going to have to learn to make his car last. He's going to have to learn not to ruffle feathers as much as he does. So, yeah, I just think it takes time. I don't expect him to go out and, you know, win every race right away. It's two totally different disciplines. You know, and it's gonna take time for him to adjust, and it's gonna take time for guys to accept him in those ranks. It'd be no different than if one of those guys would go down to a sprint car. It's gonna take time.
I agree with that. I just, I know he's got a good contract. And they're gonna stick with him for a while. And
Sure.
Yeah, I just think with his talent level, if he would, just stay out of the dirt stuff and stick to this, where he can learn and learn and maybe win one this year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Again, he's not running many sprint car races. In fact, I thought he'd run more, and he's not. I think 25 shows is not a lot, and he's going to run 3 this weekend, I think. So I don't think it's going to hurt him. And it's not like he's running 40 or 50. It's not like he's going to, leave a NASCAR race and fly across country to run a 410 sprint car race. So I think, maybe Knoxville, but that's not going to be the case this year because, again, they're in Iowa. But I don't think it's going to hurt him because I think he knows what he needs to do. And with the simulators now, he can spend all week on a simulator and then go to Vegas. And I'm assuming he's running Vegas, so it makes sense. I mean, hell, he can run Vegas, and I think Texas has a race that weekend with Cup. I'm not sure, or with Xfinity or whatever the hell it is now. So I don't think it's going to be a big deal.
As far as whatever the conversation about you and Chaz or what he said, you said, to me, Chaz is just like a Howard Stern. He says a lot of weird, shocking stuff to get likes or to get attention, and then he gets upset and he blocks people. He blocked me. He blocks when I don't really want to talk what he's talking about, and then I want to start another topic. He shuts me down and blocks me. So
I can't imagine anybody wanting to block you, Will. You're a star on this show.
I don't know. I was trying to be entertaining on his show, you know. And he did. I guess he didn't like it. I don't know.
The California people love when you call this show. It's great.
Yeah, I got one guy in the chat really disliking me about my comment about Corey, but you know, when Corey compared to Larson, Larson's like he's got 2 championships. Yeah, he could, you know, do all this off weekend stuff, but Corey's in, you know, he's never driven any kind of stock car, and he's learning. He needs to stick with that and learn it. You know, that's all I'm saying. You know,
I think Kyle at the beginning didn't run on dirt, did he? I'm not sure. I can't remember back that far, but I thought he kind of early on, like for a year and a half, didn't run sprint car stuff, but I'm not sure. I'm not.
Well, it was his contract was different with Chip Ganassi. Ganassi put the restraints on him to keep him from racing sprint cars.
Wow.
I believe, and then he allowed him. You know, he you know, Larson got on his knees and begged him to let him run Knoxville 1 year or 2 years, and but that, you know, besides that, and a couple of limited shows, but you know.
Again, I just don't
but
think
Larson's got the experience now.
I don't think it's not enough sprint car races that it's going to hinder Day's progress. I just don't believe that.
All right. All right.
See.
Well, thanks for taking my call.
No problem.
Oh, one more thing. Sorry. It was not much going on in California. I think Justin Sam was there, but he didn't do very well.
Who?
And it was like Andy Forsberg against the kids.
No, Justin Sanders took the lead in the finale, and I believe a lap car got him.
Oh, that's right. That's what it was in the highlights. He did flip. Yeah, going into 1 and 2. That's right.
Yep. So, but Austin Wood.
I didn't even know that race was on until.
I like Austin Wood. So.
Yeah, he did pretty good, you know. I mean, he took advantage of the situation, you know. He's learning too, and you know, right? You know, it's like you said, the 360 racing in California is pretty big compared to the rest of the country.
Yeah, it's dying.
You know,
seems to be dying everywhere else.
Well, I think what's happened is a lot of the 360 guys have moved up. And then they you know, did 410s for a short time and then left the state, you know. A lot of guys did that from California.
No, we'll see how it pans out. I know Austin Wood's going to the 360 Nationals, I believe, so it'll be interesting to see how he fares there.
Well, we'll be watching. Thanks for taking my call as always.
Thanks, Will. Appreciate it. Santos on line 11. Santos, how are you?
Good. How are you doing, Jeremy?
Not too bad. Not too bad.
So, a couple things. First and foremost, I'm sure you're probably tired of talking about it by now, or hearing about it, or whatever that may have you. I, for one, I don't know you personally. Talked to you a handful of times in the pits, but I can tell you that me personally, and I know I'm not alone, that I, for one, appreciate the quote unquote professionalism that some people have alluded to as a quote, I guess, a negative thing. I guess it's bad to be professional at your full-time job. But also the fact that you allow your knowledge and your knowledge and I don't even know how to describe it, but your knowledge do the talking rather than you screaming and hollering and cursing and talking bad about a bunch of different people within the industry. You just allow your knowledge and, you know, what you write about and your content do the talking, and hence why all he gets is negative views and negative clickbaits. And I truly believe that's his goal. And I don't understand why that would be anyone's goal, but to each their own. But I truly do appreciate everything that you do for the sport inside and out, both nationally and locally. So thank you for everything you do.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And secondly, Secondly, I had asked about it earlier and then got busy when I had referenced about the scales thing at Lincoln.
Yes. I missed
after
that.
Heat 1. So, yeah, so in the driver's meeting, because I was in the pits helping with Jordan Gibbler that day, so I was at the driver's meeting, and last week and this week they had said everyone from each heat, regardless if you qualify or not, every single car to the scale.
Yes.
According to Aiden Hare Racing, they're the ones that made the post, but I've heard it from one or two other people as well. So granted, it's hearsay. It's a he said, she said. Obviously, I don't think we'll ever get the true answer. But according to Aiden Hare, they came over the one-way after Heat 1 and said top 6 to the scale.
Ah.
Well, obviously, he finished 7th, so he didn't go to the scales. And he was supposed to line up on the pole of the B main on a one-lane track in the B main, as you saw, obviously. And unless something catastrophic would happen, he probably would have made the 410 show in his rookie debut. But because he got DQ'd, he then had to start at the rear and then obviously didn't qualify. Right. So I was just curious to hear your thoughts if that held to be true.
If that's true, then the track's wrong. That's it. I mean, you can't say one thing and look, those one-ways are when they tell you, I mean, I understand what they say at the driver's meeting. That's fine. But when they say top 6 to the scales, the driver doesn't know if something changed. Is it the program? Is it because they're moving things along? Or whatever the reason is. If that's what happened, and I'm not saying that's what did because I don't know, the track is wrong. Because after the heat race, the drivers depend on that. And no matter what is said at the driver's meeting, I've been in enough towers that they always tell you at the end of the heat race, everybody to the scales, top 5 to the scales, top 3 to the scales. I've stood in probably every tower in this area, and you always hear that, even just as a reminder. So if indeed they did say top 6 to the scales, then the track's wrong. Because they're the ones who made the call. So that's where I'm not sure.
It seems like we have this issue. I feel like we always hear it at the beginning of the year. It seems like once or twice a year.
Yeah.
And then it kind of fades away as the year progresses.
Yeah.
What if you were a track owner or promoter, general manager, however you want to word it, what would be your, I guess in a way, how would you fix that from preventing it? If you know what I mean. Would you have the same person run the meeting as the person that runs the tower, or how would you address that moving forward?
For me, if
that's what happened.
If I'm running a racetrack, your race director is conducting the meeting, and there's only one race director. Okay, you're not going to have 2-3 voices in somebody's ear. It's one and only one. I know a lot of tracks scores do stuff. I know, and I get it. The only way I would have somebody else on the radio is for scores, if they're lining people up. Otherwise, I don't want them to talk. Okay, at the end of the heat race, it's race director. Race director always runs the meeting. They're the race director. Mike Hess doesn't have somebody else run the high limit meeting. And you can't have more than one race director. There's got to be one guy in charge of the tower. One. And I do know tracks in the area have multiple people running the tower. Now, I do think some of that's getting cleared up this year. Williams Grove, for instance. I think it's going to be Kevin Nelson. That's going to be it. But in my opinion, you should have one overriding voice in a tower. That's it. And the only time anybody else talks on that radio is when the scores, under yellow or lining up cars. That's it. Otherwise, one voice, same as the one that's at the driver's meeting. That's it. That's how I would take care of it.
Right on. And lastly, one last thing. I saw a comment in the comment section saying that the phone calls needed to be ran like a 2-minute work area. So I'll wrap this up. If you could go back in time, knowing what you know now, knowing how, your career and your livelihood has progressed into what it is today and the trajectory it took to get to where you are, would you do anything differently, or would you stay would you still be involved in racing, or would you have gone down a different path?
I would have
like hockey, for example, because I know you love hockey.
Yeah, I would have gone to school for journalism. I have never taken a journalism course in my life. I just happened to learn on the fly. To me, you either can do it or you can't, and you need to be around people who can, so you can learn the trade. I know people who have journalism degrees. I wouldn't let them carry my laptop bag. They can't write, but they have a journalism degree. So, so no, I
right on.
I think you got to be a little tweaked. I think I've been accused of that. I think you got to be creative and all that. But if I would do something different, I probably would have went to school for it, because I might be in a different situation now, because when you have that piece of paper, I have a finance and account, a specialty in business, and I have an associate's in business studies with a specialty in accounting is my official degree. I don't use it, so I feel like that was a waste a little bit. So I'd go for journalism, and God knows where I'd be. I made the choice to leave the newspaper, and I was covering different things. I was covering a lot of different things, and went into racing. My biggest mistake with SprintCarUnlimited is, in 2017, when I started it, I should have did it as an app. I shouldn't have done it as a website. I should have done it as an app and had push button notification. That was my biggest mistake. I would change that.
Could you ever see yourself doing an app in the future?
They're expensive for that. I mean, you're looking at $15,000 for push button notification. If you can't,
holy crap!
If you can't do push button notification, there's really no point. And for those who don't know what that is, That's when I write a story and post it, you get notified on your phone. So I can't see that. I would have to get a lot of advertising money to do that. It's crossed my mind, though. I like the YouTube thing, guys.
Right on.
I like the YouTube thing. I really do.
Oh, absolutely. Like someone said, it's a sprint car version of Taco Tuesday. It's something I look forward to every week. So with that being said, I will let you get back to said YouTube podcast.
All right.
I appreciate you taking my call. It's always a pleasure talking to you. Hopefully I'll get to talk to you at a race at some point.
Oh, you'll see me.
Best of luck down in Vegas.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. And thank you for the call and the compliments. All right. What do you think about Rico writes when others going to Skagit? Got that one already. I had to make the screen bigger so I could see it. So I don't see the chat. Sunday show name, post-race car wash sponsored by Carl's Jr. If I could get Ryan on it, who hates car wash. It's his pet peeve. Lauda, I'm sure Lauda knows about Ryan's, but hates the car wash, especially when it's 40 degrees. That's what drove him out of the sport. The 3-minute clock ended up at Big Diamond. It's not working, but it's there. Okay, fair enough. With the amount of outsiders running Las Vegas, how many high limit regulars to have to use provisionals, plus or minus 4 each night? Huh. I'm going to go minus. I'm going to go minus. I'm going to go against the grain on that. I think most people would say plus. I'm going to say -4. Jeremy, did you catch any of the races from Chico? Thoughts? I saw some highlights. I was tied up with some things this weekend. Obviously, I was having eye trouble even at Lincoln. So it was stupid of me, I guess, to wait till today to get it taken care of. I thought it was allergies. So no, I did not. And also I was watching hockey. I forgot it was on. I'll be honest. And then I watched the highlights. My thoughts were Justin Sanders is fast again. I like Austin Wood, but this is not new. I talked about Austin Wood on the podcast numerous times. Forsberg still quick at Chico. That'll never change. But other than that, those three things are what stood out to me. Jeremy, thanks for the explanation of the difference between PA Posse 410 series and Keystone King. Sandy and I put the Keystone King together just to have something for the other 60 shows. That's what I thought. It makes sense. I appreciate everything Alan Holland does. That he had that point fund for years, and it's paying the guys extra money. So I appreciate that, and I'm glad I could explain it. How many full-time teams running Woo or high limits will finish the year without dropping off the tour? I thought last year more would drop off, and they didn't. I was actually impressed by that. So I'm wondering, I could see one of each. I could see one with high limit, and then the World of Outlaws, maybe two max, but not many. I was really impressed last year that everybody kind of stayed the course. It was surprising to me. I thought way more would drop off last year, and they didn't. And here we are again. So I think probably max one high limit, two maybe with the Outlaws. What would the national sprint car scene look like if Tony Stewart never jumped in to save the All-Stars and then turned them into a respectable series bought out by High Limit? I think the same. I don't think High Limit purchasing the All-Stars had any effect on if High Limit is here. The All-Stars were always a regional series. They went to Florida, maybe went to Knoxville. They went to Knoxville. They had like a couple, expanded a little bit. But I don't think it would have stopped High Limit from coming around. And I think, guys, Reitzel, Peck, I think those cars would have still, Courtney, they still would have moved up to High Limit. So I don't think it really affected it at all. That's a Brad Sweet and Kyle wanted to do something. I don't think it, the All-Stars, I just don't think it was really a factor at all. The All-Stars might not have been there. I will say that if Tony Stewart didn't jump in, I don't know what that series would be. Now, was it Rob Hunter from the 10H? He was all ready to make it the Renegade deal. We don't know how that would have turned out. But I still think it would have been a regional series. But it never came to that really because Tony Stewart jumped in. So Tony did save the All-Stars. Guy Webb, not good. Not good for the All-Stars. So, but I don't think it had an effect on High Limit. Logan Rumsey will win at Lincoln. Yes. I do like Logan Rumsey. I did a story on him for SprintCarUnlimited.com after week one. Good catch. I said Jake Carklin. I think Logan Rumsey will also win this year. It's a good pick. Do you think 10 years from now, drivers will still be standing on the tank in victory lane? God, I hope not. You mean the wing? God, I hope not. Isn't it overplayed? Can we stand somewhere else? Can we pick something different? Can we all send a note out and do something different in victory lane? I would like to see variety. It seems like it gets overplayed. I almost think now everybody expects that shot, so everybody does it for the photographers. But yes, I do think in 10 years we'll be doing the exact same thing. Top 6 only to the scales definitely was relayed to drivers at Lincoln. That's a problem. That is a problem. And that's on the track. And now I'm mad at myself that I didn't know that. I mean, I wasn't wearing a radio. I have one, but I wasn't wearing it. I don't wear it often, and I should. So I'm a little mad at myself because I would have written about that. So thank you for the update, and I might be doing some checking on that. I'm sure I missed it, but are you live streaming any tracks? If not, why not join in with PA Posse TV? I do not know what's going on with Speed Week yet. I had 4 shows at Speed Week. I do not know if I still have those or not. That's still yet to be determined. I'm not joining PAPosse.tv. That's run by Jerry Parrish, Scott Gobrecht, and Mike Hefner. I have nothing to do with that. You know, I mean, we're a separate entity. So I don't know why we would. I mean, there's really nothing to, as far as joining, I don't know how that would even work. So no, I think they started their own thing and it just worked out that way. But I don't see how we could join that. I mean, they have their people in place. They obviously, I think they do a 50-50 split, if I'm not mistaken. And unless, you know, there's a different deal out there. And I mean, how would you split the other 50% if 50% goes to the track? Plus they have kind of how they do their expenses, I think, are different than ours. So no, just no. No desire to do that even. Jeremy, you better hit the airport early. TSA lines are busy. Yeah, I got to talk to, because I'll be flying out with Brent Smith. We'll have to gauge, because we got to drive to Philly, flying from Philly. So we'll keep that in mind. There it is, over 2 hours in, and we have our first high limits. You know, that's actually, we're doing a better job because it's only one in the first 2 hours. Any chance to see Corey Eliason this week? I don't know if he's running the 45 or not. So if he is, I think we could see him. But, I mean, I guess there's a chance. But I don't really know what he's doing. Jeremy, has there ever been talk of running an engine with more horsepower in sprint car racing? There used to be engines that did have more horsepower in sprint car racing. And then they made them 410 cubic inch, and there you go. If you were promoting a new Crown Jewel 410 race and your only concern was maximizing potential car count, not attendance, what track would you hold the race at, and what format would you use? What track? If I wasn't worrying about attendance. I'd probably run it at BAPS because I think it's the right size. I like the banking. I know I would have Colton Gauss help me with it. I think he does an unbelievable job promoting. I also trying to think of another track that I would. I mean, obviously you have the ones that already hold it, but I was thinking of somewhere where they don't hold a Crown Jewel event. And this is now, I don't think they have enough stands right now for a crown, what you would call a Crown Jewel, but that's where I would do it. As far as the format, I'd run something close to the Knoxville format. I'd invert 6 probably, but you got to have your track so you can pass. The key to any format change, tweak, I like a points format. I like what the Knoxville Nationals does. I didn't mind what Husitz did, but you got to have your track good. Your track's got to be prepped, and you got to be able to pass in your heat races. BAPS is the right size. Banking, you can move around, you can drive past guys. So I would have either 6 or 8 invert in the heat races. I do a points thing similar to Knoxville. You know, I like those formats. How much did you learn from Bruce Whitman? I really never talked to Bruce Whitman. So a little before my time. I learned a lot from Jerry Regal. Jerry Regal was kind of my mentor, and he was one of my best friends. When did Lincoln start with virtual officiating? Seems to be some inconsistent officiating. They just have the virtual flagman. And that started at the beginning of last year, I believe. I sometimes lose track of year, but it's recent. So I think that's just flagging though. It's not like they have a AI guy come over the radio. So it's just the flagging. Jeremy, why do you think there isn't a NARC show at Stockton this year? I assume you think it's because of the Outlaws, but I don't know. I'll ask Brad Sweet this weekend. I'm not afraid to ask Brad. Who knows? I know the promoter had that car accident. I don't know if that came into play. He was in bad shape. I know they had. I don't think some guys like the racing at Stockton. At times, I've heard that. So I really don't know the for sure reason. It's something that I could definitely check on and ask me maybe next week. All right, that's a wrap on the questions. I didn't even know we were done yet, but it's time for the Colorado Avalanche in Edmonton in half an hour. Thank you to everybody who joined the show. I appreciate it. Yes, even you, Chaz. I appreciate it. Chaz does do some good things, so just so everybody knows. But again, I appreciate everybody joining the show. Check out all our content from Vegas, and we'll be back next Tuesday. Stay tuned.